You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Trump's July 4 speech highlights an ironic victim of his DC vanity projects, based on an article by Nick Hilden. Trump is eating the parks to feed his ego. Power, not funding sources. The basic story is simple. Donald Trump is using the machinery of the federal government to funnel money toward his preferred Washington vanity projects while the National Park Service sits on a $24.2 billion maintenance backlog. Mount Rushmore is the symbol of the moment, because the damage is now visible in the national myth itself. A monument decaying while the president redirects fees collected in the name of public land. This is not an accident of budgeting. It is a power choice. Trump wants the spending, the spectacle, and the credit. The parks get the bill. The decision was made up top. The reporting points to concrete decisions, not vague administrative drift. Trump's White House projects have included a ballroom demand, gold-drenched horse statues, and a reflecting pool mess that was already funded before he publicly inflated its cost. The pattern is not competence interrupted by chaos. It is a president treating federal resources like personal property and a federal bureaucracy too weak, or too obedient, to stop him. The article also notes no-bid contracts and the absence of congressional approval. That matters. When a president bypasses ordinary appropriations and procurement constraints, the issue is not merely waste. It is executive capture of public money, the real misdirection. The Interior Department's response blames Barack Obama. That is the sort of political nonsense designed to blur responsibility until nobody is left holding the bag. Obama is not the one redirecting current fee revenue. Democrats are right to press the issue, but the larger point is sharper. This administration is actively choosing to starve public stewardship in order to feed a private ego machine. The source also mentions many funding sources, which is classic bureaucratic fog. When the argument becomes an accounting maze, the political question gets buried. Who decided that park dollars should underwrite presidential pageantry in Washington instead of the parks where visitors paid them? A system built for grift. The legal hook is equally revealing. The Federal Lands Recreation Enhancement Act requires most on-site entrance fees to stay at the park where they are collected. If revenue from digital passes is being used for Trump's beautification projects without any guardrails or transparency, as Democrats told Interior Secretary Doug Burgum, then the issue is not only bad optics. It is a direct test of whether the administration thinks public law still binds it. This is how corruption often works now. Not as a single grand theft, but as a series of bureaucratic conversions where public purpose money gets quietly repurposed into political self-advertising. Mount Rushmore is Exhibit A. The irony here is not the point. The point is that a national landmark is being made to suffer so that Trump can stage manage another monument to himself in the Capitol. The country's parks are not unfortunate collateral. They are a reservoir of public value being drained to sustain the performance of presidential grandeur. That is the larger pattern. Extract from institutions, decorate the extraction as patriotism, and leave the public with deferred maintenance, legal ambiguity, and propaganda about who is supposedly to blame. What this story really shows: this is a story about asymmetry in power. Trump is not merely noisy or reckless. He is using executive office to reorder spending around personal prestige, while subordinates, agencies, and Republican allies provide the cover. The damage lands on the parks, the law, and the public record. The scandal is not that Trump likes success. It is that he treats the federal government as a renovation fund for his own image, and then expects the country to call that governance. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Alternet for today's article. With the automated voice of Clara, thanks for listening.